Record. Okay, so today we welcome, and today we have Connor here, and we're going to be talking on things, careers, and what's happened in the world today. So we're going to start off with a flip of the tables, and we're going to start off with early life. And hello, I forgot that happens. Hello and welcome. So today we're with Connor, and we're going to be talking about early life and what happened in the world today. And we're going to flip the tables on Connor's podcast. So we're going to start off in the very beginning. We're going to start off with your early life. And can you tell me a bit about your childhood? What brought you up to this stage in your life?
Yeah, so I'm Connor. I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast, Connor Pennington, because that's me. Early life. So I was born in the seaside resort of Blackpool, and I was born into a household with an older sister and two parents, a mum and a dad. And at the time, at 4 years old, I was going to start in school and everything. And that's the first time I ever started swimming. Now, swimming was a big part of my life, and it's taken me all over the country competing and doing some absolutely amazing things. I started competing when I was 9, up and down the country. I was doing club champs and other events. And around the time of when I was maybe around 11 or 12, my father was taken out of my house by the police. He was arrested, and he was put on bail conditions, and then he was taken to court and prosecuted. Now, the reason for this was that I was living in an abusive household. Now, I didn't realise this at the time, and I thought the behaviours were kind of normal. But looking at it now, I've had counselling, therapy. I've spoke to different survivors of domestic abuse, and it's the conclusion of that. It's not right. So the instances were the fact that there was a lot of shouting, there was a lot of physical aggression, mental abuse, and things like that was going on towards me and my siblings. From then, I had a younger sister and a younger brother, and things weren't okay. And then he was arrested. That was about when I was turning 10 or so, and then he was prosecuted 2 years later. I've not seen him since. Don't want to either, really. Very disgusting person. I think the correct word is monster, and that can be defined as the person. So then that happened, and then from there, it's been the years after was a struggle, because obviously I was trying to cope with what was going on, and then I'd done some great counselling and gone into school and things like that, and I found a new motivation. I found a motivation of learning, of improving myself, becoming a better person, and then I've taken that through the rest of my life into college, into the extra groups that I do, into providing a podcast. It's not it's not a regular episode kind of podcast that some people like doing. It's a podcast that I do episodes and videos of when I find something that I want to talk about and need to talk about, rather than just providing content, because that's not what I want to do. It's not. I don't want to having to stick to a schedule and following that kind of routine of providing content for people. But if I can give interviews, do videos and things like that, and then put them onto YouTube, I think that is something that I do better, really.
And it's about, you know, the way you kind of, yeah, it's a moving story as well. And you know, the outcome of that is you making the podcast, and obviously as well with these struggling times, it's critical that, you know, it is hard being a content creator in these times and creating podcasts and stuff like that. And obviously as well, you know, you was telling me with GCSEs and studying and other stuff going on that, you know, how do you fit in this time with the podcast?
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's how do you fit the time in and doing it all in? I mean, I'm at college doing 3 A levels, and you know, first year of that, moving into second year, so there's lots of revision, lots of exam prep, and then I've got other groups as well that I'm part of. So finding time to do something, to do that is very difficult. The time that I did do, we were in a lockdown because of the pandemic, so I had a lot of free time, and I recorded 3 videos with guests in a week, 3 in 1 week, and then other times it's been a while. Am I too bothered about how long it's been between the last video and potentially the next video? No, not really, because I never did it to want followers or to want fame or to push content or anything. It's YouTube for me, and my channel is a document of my success. Just like across all my social medias, it's a document of my success and what I've achieved in life. And some people, you know, Blaine, some people say, well, that's quite arrogant, really. Why would you want to keep showing your success? But for me, I can show my success. I'm allowed to show my success. I'm not one of them people that have come from a really high background where they've got lots of money and kind of things, and they've already got that support and fame and everything there. I've come from, you know, a working class family, single parent household, traumatic childhood, but then, you know, changing it and also providing my own abilities in these other groups, and providing my opinion. And that's something I think is really important. You know, we've got a voice. Why don't we use it? If we think something so highly, then we should talk about it. And that's what we're going to talk about later. So
Yeah, obviously during, you know, this pandemic as well, I started my content during the pandemic, and I had loads of free time because it was a pandemic. You know, you didn't have school. You know, schools were shut. You know, and you had lots of free time to just do whatever you want. And then when you start getting these followers and this fame, and you know, people expect, and you're like, yeah, but I'm busy. Yeah, but you're not, because you're gonna create content for us, and it's an expect. And sometimes that's what you get, and then you also get the online hate and the trolls. And have you got any advice on that?
So I haven't had an issue really, touch wood kind of thing, with having to deal with negativity in that respect of YouTube and pushing content. Obviously, I've had a couple of comments that quite immature, really, and say some silly things. And the easiest way is you can either reply to it with a joke, and kind of backfire on it, or you can ignore it, or you can delete it. You won't find any negative comments on mine because I'll just take them off. Is that cowardice of me? No, not really. It's just because I don't care. Somebody said something about, wow, this is embarrassing. And I thought, well, you know what? It's not embarrassing because look what I'm doing. Look who I'm talking to. Look at the connections I'm building. Look at the experience I'm building. It's going to improve myself. What are you going to do with your life? What are you doing right now? That's the answer I have. You can push this content and you get maybe negative comments. You can say, right, okay, but I'm doing something I enjoy. I'm doing something I love. What are you doing?
I know Darren, who has been on your podcast before, Darren Otterman and Phil Fletcher. I've been in contact with them, and I know Darren Otterman would say, you know, he would take the mick out of them, you know, mean comments, and you know what he would say? He would say F them, and you know, he can attack, like he said, he can be harsh if he wants to with the mean comments, but he prefers to take the mick out of them instead, and maybe it comes across a bit, you know, selfish and arrogant. But I'd do the same. I totally do the same. Is take the mick out of the mean comments. Like, yeah, this is what I am, but I'm making connections and you're not. And it's a powerful message to put across. So, you know, your last podcast was with Gemma Hunt, and she does swashbucklers, and she's a big TV presenter. You know, everybody should know her from my generation anyway. You know I watched swashbucklers when I was a kid, so you see that. But you know, is it fun to meet these celebrities? Because I know it's nerve-wracking to meet, you know, celebrities and people you've watched and people you think, I've watched them, I've saw them, but I've not actually got to speak to them face-to-face, one-on-one. Is it that much of a nerve-wracking experience?
Oh, I mean, 100%. 100%. You see somebody on the TV, you see somebody on YouTube, or you know of somebody. It never changes. The level of importance for each individual person is completely different. I've had politicians, reality TV, YouTubers, comedians. I've had different people, and there has not been a time where I don't get nervous, because I don't care for fame, for their fame either. I don't look at them and think they're a famous person, because at the end of the day, they are people. And I messaged, I won't say her name, but I'll just say that she was in The Jungle. I'm a Celebrity. I don't think it was The Jungle. I think it was this time around in Wales. I think she was in that season. And I messaged her and she replied quite rudely. And I thought, well, fine, whatever. So that's what it is. It's about they're humans too. They're people as well. You know, they've got things going on. I mean, when I was talking to Gemma was messaging me saying, sorry, I'm just going to be a bit late. I've got to put my daughter to bed. That's real. That's a real human thing, isn't it? And or when one of them is saying, really sorry, my internet's gone bad or something. It's one of them things that you can't prepare for, but it's life, and that's what I take forward. Yes, I get nervous. Yes, it can be a big deal, but you just roll with it, don't you?
Yeah, and I remember watching that video with Gemma, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I'll have to get in contact." And you know, because obviously, you know, Gemma, I found her, and I was like, you know, what? Let's get some feedback from her. And I said, I heard of Connor that you were on his podcast. Did you enjoy your time on there? It was great. Thanks. Hope you enjoy listening to it. So you really enjoyed the time on there. And Darren, again, you meet so many like nice people who will message you back. So Darren as well, he's been a joy to speak to. You know, he's been so funny to talk to every time. You know,
he's a good lad. He's Darren. I like Darren. He's a nice man. Reply to his stories and things like that often, and I comment on his.
He said about the trolls, and this is what I got back. You know, I can be an impulsive bee, and it's hard not to get involved and comment back. I've really got to learn to walk away about entering into pointless arguments and feeling the need to justify myself. You see, that's real. You know, you don't get any realer. And I mean, Darren is one of the most funniest people you'll ever get to message, and he'll answer back. You know, whenever. You know, you'll answer whatever you put on your story. He'll reply back to you. He's so funny. And also Phil Fletcher. We keep in conversation, like I say. You know, I've told him how much, you know, and he gives me advice. He gives me pieces of advice. No, I need advice. Can you help me? Yeah, and you know, it's nice. It's nice. But you get some arrogant celebrities that don't answer you back, like you're saying. You know, they don't answer, but they've got their own stuff going on, and you can't get an answer back off some people.
I mean, when probably the best thing that happened was episode 3. I think it was episode 3 with Jason Romano. Jason is a author, podcaster, American sports broadcaster. He was on ESPN, which is a major sports broadcasting TV platform over in America. Now, when I messaged him, he said, yeah, I can give 20 minutes or so. And I was like, that's brilliant. I'll take 20 minutes. And we ended up speaking for about an hour and a half. And there was no time I felt like he was like, oh, I only said 20 minutes. I've got to go. He was talking, and it was him, and he was floating, and he's been great. And he's been absolutely brilliant. And one thing he said to me, he said, if people reach out to you, people want to talk to you, they've put their time into contacting you. So you then give your time back in responding to them. And that was somebody else said, I think Sam Acho, the NFL player, he also said that. And it's that thing, if somebody spends their time wanting to talk to you, then you've got to give the same back. You've got to give that energy back and respond to them.
I mean, obviously, you did podcasts, and I think I found out about your podcast. I think it was off Phil Fletcher when he posted it on his story, and he's like, "Oh, cool! I check it out. That does look cool. You know, this guy with Phil Fletcher. You know, that's awesome." And that was the first time we got in contact, and obviously, you know, you took the time to reply back. Because sometimes, really, you know, you do this in your bedroom, you don't expect to reply back. You know, that's just the kind of thing you expect when you're just starting off on YouTube. And actually, when I started TikTok, I called the people that I knew, like Morgan and James, and, you know, the Harfin family and stuff like that. I called them my TikTok family because no matter what, they would always interact with me. And Morgan and James was always reply back, even if it was 3:00 in the morning. You know, he would get round to replying back. And some celebrities do that. They get round. It may not be when you expect it, but you'll wake up in the morning to reply, definitely. And I feel like that's the time they take. And now we're going to move on to the more political, debatey part of the show. So Connor, obviously we only recently found out that you joined the youth council of Blackpool. How did you find out? How did you apply?
Yeah. So, for people that don't know, a youth council is a council of youth members from about 11 to 18. It's more than likely set up by the youth parliament, and your youth council will be looking at reforming and changing your town, city, village, place, and making it better depending on what the youth, the young people want. And we do that by looking at something called Make Your Mark votes. So they're votes that go around to young people in schools and things like that, across the country, all across the country, and they get collated in. So, yeah, like you said, I'm part of Blackpool Youth Council, being from Blackpool, obviously. I started that last year in about December. I was invited along from one of my other groups because I'm an ambassador for CAMS. And they invited, the Blackpool Youth Council invited a member from Blackpool CAMS, an ambassador, so it was me, to go along and talk to one of the local MPs on with other young people, and I went across to that, and that was a fun meeting. I posted all about that on my Twitter page because it didn't go down very well between me and the MP. We had quite a heated debate.
Never does.
But what do you expect?
You know, I do it all the time. The subject that hits home with me the most, and I could debate about this like for the full like 3 hours, and it's about carers. And especially young carers, but also adult carers. Now, I wanted to talk about this on this kind of meeting, podcast, whatever you want to call it, because it hits home to so many people, and it's coming up to Young Carers Week and Carers Week, and I wanted to speak about it. And the debate we had is the difference between an adult carer and a young carer. I had this debate the other day, and I was like, well, I could go on about it, and I said that young carers get treated badly, and the government just really don't care about them. They don't take their time to look into what young carers are and how they can, get money for what they do. Whereas adult carers, they get everything, financially improved, everything. But we don't. The most we get is put on a service like Gadam, and and that's it. And then they help us, but that's only with your mental side, not with finance, and that's the issue we brought up. So my question is, what do you think about young carers and how it could be helped in this society today?
Yeah, I do agree with you, and it is real. The young carer. So people often overlook the definition of a young carer. Firstly, obviously, it being somebody who cares for somebody else, if they're under, like, the person who is caring is under the age of 18, that's just a young carer. You don't have to. A young carer doesn't have to care for somebody younger than them or older than them. It's just caring for somebody and providing for their needs. And like you said, so if you are a carer, a full-time carer in this country, and you're over the age of 18, the government allow you to claim a carer's allowance and things like that. And for the under 18s, there is no real help. Obviously, there is the young carers kind of charity group that is up and down the country. And they do help and provide support for young people. They'll do trips and they'll offer you support and things like that, which is brilliant. But it's something that I don't feel is educated enough. Luckily at my school, it was. And obviously I knew about being a young carer before. I have been involved with the Young Carers Service. My mum has her own health issues and was in hospital quite a lot one year. And then my youngest sister also has epilepsy and everything. So technically speaking, I was classed as a young carer and still am classed as a young carer. And I was doing these trips and things like that with the carers. But it's that support and education that I don't feel is strong enough for the young people.
Yeah. It's now time to talk about something that hits home to my heart, and it's the Who Cares campaign. Now, if you head over to our YouTube channel, you will see that we ordered a thank you video, me included. And the Who Cares campaign is a DigiFund, and it helps with young carers facing digital poverty. And what happens is you can apply for this fund, you get money, and you get technology. And it's a digital fund, and it helps people with technology poverty, which means if you don't have a phone, iPad, laptop, headphones, these were from the DigiFund. These headphones were from the DigiFund. So you can get a laptop, you can probably get a TV, phone, headset, selfie stick, whatever you want that is technology based, you can get from the DigiFund. If you're a young carer and you do scroll past this video, please watch it because you'll find out about DigiFund. Go onto the Who Cares campaign Twitter page and I'll put it in link in the bio when I post it up. That's what I had to say real quickly whilst I was on the subject. Next subject I want to talk about, and it's a big subject because it was Mental Health Awareness Week last week. Now, this is where it hits home. Mental health is a big thing in the UK. It has affected many, many people's lives. It has affected young people and adult people all across the UK. And my question is, what you think of what they have done for mental health in the UK? Because they've done a lot. They've done a lot. Compared to young carers, they've done a lot. In schools, across the country, support groups, whatever. It's amazing what they've done. What do you think of the current situation and why it's having more of an effect on mental health? And have you had any experience with mental health yourself?
So, good question there. I obviously I'll give two answers if that's all right. I'll give my youth council answer and then I'll give my own personal answer. So my youth council answer would be, we are applying for more money each year. We're running campaigns. Us at Blackpool Youth Council, we've started some more campaigns, some I Am campaigns that we're working on to spread awareness of mental health, spread awareness of the support for mental health. What is mental health, first of all? Who can be affected, things like that. And that's what we're looking for in that. We're talking to our MPs about it because they get this money allocated each term. Money gets spoke about a lot. Dr. Alex George, who's the youth mental health ambassador, who works with Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of this country, quite a lot, and he gets money but it's where does that money go? So obviously it's like 69 million. Don't quote me on that, please. I don't really. It's around that figure. a lot of money, and where's that money going? You want to see the money. So that's kind of my council answer, my personal answer. So mental health is something that obviously I have dealt with. Obviously, being a CAMHS ambassador, I was in CAMHS, which is the Children Adolescent Mental Health Services. I was part of that with my childhood. I think it's inevitable, kind of obvious that it took a toll severely. And has it helped me? Has the services in this country helped me? CAMHS did one side of it, and I had other people doing other things. I had a life skills coach. He was absolutely brilliant. I've had other people, and collectively, you know, they've been brilliant. But can there be more? Can there be more support offered? Can there be more services provided? Can there be an easier way? Can there be shortened waiting lists? 100%. The waiting lists. I was talking to somebody who runs a youth therapy.
Yeah.
And she was saying there was an 8-month waiting list. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then the issue you've also got is if your mental health is that bad, there's obviously the route of going just to the hospital, going to A&E. The thing with that is there's no support there. The backlog of the beds and things like that, the situation is poor at the moment. Also affected by the pandemic. There's limited places where they can actually hold people. So it is a real shame. But like I said, mental health is something that's so important to talk about. Everybody has mental health, and it should be looked after as much as your own physical health is. So if you're feeling whatever, you've noticed something physically, you ring the doctor, or you hurt yourself, you go down to A&E, something like that. But if something's going on mentally, people tend to dismiss it, and that's not okay. You know, we've got to start being able to say, I'm not okay. It's cliche and kind of corny and that it all sounds. It is okay to be not okay. It is all right to say, you know what, I need help. Today I'm having a bad day. There's been days where I've really not wanted to get out of bed. I can't go into college. I don't want to go and do something. But that's okay. But then you've also got to want to help yourself. You can't go to CAMHS and expect CAMHS to do something straight away for you. You've got to want that help. That is something that is another big issue. And I could speak about that for another lot of endless time.
We're going to finish off with one of the most crueling and one of the most political debates that have been going on in the social media so far. And it's the lockdown and the current restrictions. So as you all know, in June, this month, we'll be coming out of lockdown. Do we think it's safe enough with this new Indian variant? No. Would Boris Johnson listen to what his scientists are saying, that if we come out on these restrictions where there have been no social distancing, would this variant spread faster? I'm not sure. And, you know, you have, you know, Dominic Cummings, you have Boris Johnson, and you have the health secretary, you know, and you have all these other people as well. And are they helping us? I don't know. And, you know, I could go on about this debate for ages because I think that, you know, under this pressure that Boris Johnson has, he's been dropped in with Brexit. He's also been dropped in with this pandemic. Is it putting too much pressure on the government? Yes. Do I feel for Boris Johnson? Kind of. What's your takes on that?
So, technically speaking, with the groups I'm part of, and being part, as we've said, of the Blackpool Youth Council, I have to be politically neutral. Something that you see if I speak to politicians on my podcast is I stay politically neutral and not try and talk about the diverting politics and my opinion. But as soon as you've asked, I think
this is the way that we're putting this in terms of I have to stay politically neutral as well, even though I'm not in a service. I have to for my sake, because I'm supporting cars and stuff like that. Politically neutral is my debate, and when we're obviously knowing local bears as well, I really could backfire on me when this goes out, saying wise boy saying this about Boris Johnson. But obviously, politically, I'm sticking up for Boris Johnson. We're sticking up for him. We're not saying he's a bad prime minister. We're saying he just needs a little bit of help from the community.
I think Boris Johnson needs to resign. I think Matt Hancock needs to resign. Priti Patel needs to resign. Gavin Williamson, the Education Secretary, needs to resign. They all need to resign on that side. Boris Johnson has a good friend. We all know his chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, was...
we don't talk about him.
He was in a state meeting, secretary meeting last week, I think. And Dominic Cummings revealed a lot of secrets. He revealed a lot of text messages between Boris Johnson, Matt Hancock, and himself through WhatsApp. He said things that were going on in the country that the public weren't aware of, that Boris was aware of. Boris was asked different questions and told and advised by Dominic Cummings to do certain things, and it wasn't deemed necessary. Now, the issue is that's fact. So I'm not putting my opinion on it. That is fact.
Yeah.
That is fact.
And obviously, facts on that is with Dominic Cummings and the way he overall looks at it, he is helping the country, but he can't do that. He'd be going off on a holiday. Now, don't get me wrong. I could go on about other people like Piers Morgan in the Meghan Markle debate, and Piers Morgan, and the Matt Hancock argument that they had on Good Morning Britain. And I could go on about Piers Morgan alone to say that the facts he tells are sometimes true, but in the case of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, who are good citizens to our society and help a lot, rather than, and the facts that actually Harry was right, and, and now it's backfired onto his brother and Kate, and it's backfired onto them now because they're also getting the same kind of, news report reaction. So I don't know whether it's backfired on them because of this. And also the Queen's statement in the Queen's wonderful. Her statement in Parliament, the House of Lords, in that kind of statement that she made, which she doesn't make regularly. So, it's a bit hitting that she made a statement. And that statement, surprised me because it was like, why is the Queen making a statement? She hasn't made one last year, so why is she making one now? Is the country going to change? Is she angry with something? You know, and all these conspiracy theories come together. And my theory was that because Prince Philip has now passed away, she's kind of now going, right, well, we need to get this country better. You know, my husband passed away because of, rather, we don't know the cause. Maybe it was medical, maybe it wasn't. You know, maybe there was a mistake made in the NHS. I'm not sure, because what I've been reading is probably not what's true. And, you know, that is my opinions, and that's what grinds my gears. Is that the media doesn't tell the truth sometimes. And Connor will back me up on this one. What's your thoughts on the media? At this moment in time, we're having technical difficulties with the sound. So technical difficulties there. Probably what Connor was trying to say is something. But yeah, apologies for that technical difficulty. We're hoping to get the sound back and running. But the news is social media is one of the strongest parts that also contribute to mental health. My advice is be aware, be safe, and check for fake news. And as Donald Trump would say, some of that is fake news. We're hoping to have Connor back now. Connor, have you got your sound on? No, your sound is still off, Connor. Maybe it's me. Technology-wise, we're going to try. Have we got you?
About now, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So, going back to the news and social media, what do you think?
It is the root of all. It's the root of the devil, isn't it? It's the media, the news. It can be absolutely fabulous if it is used in the right way. You're looking at most news nowadays, and it's spreading some stupid lie, false allegation to somebody, spreading propaganda about something. That is not what the news is there for. And like you said about mental health, there wants to be somebody wants to set up something called Caroline's Law in memory of Caroline Flack, who has been said to she killed herself because of the online trolling, ignoring the fact why she was trolled, ignoring why she was in the media. If you want to know the reason why she was in the media, you can go and research that. But obviously, it doesn't matter kind of what. It doesn't matter what you're in the media for. There is that level of respect needed, and that was the fact with her. She had done something wrong, whether she'd done it or not. That is not for me to say. And the media were persistently on her. Whether that's right or wrong, that's your own opinion.
Going back on the Caroline Flack thing, just in case some people are confused. Now, my condolences to Caroline Flack, but because it's been brought up and I've done research now, the reason why she was on the news is because she was alleged of the assault of Lewis Burton, which she denied, and she was facing charges accused of the assault of her boyfriend. And whether that's just the media saying that's why she committed suicide, is to get out of a trial because she didn't want to admit it. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the false allegations by the news and social media. That's why she committed a wrong lie. Or maybe, it's because they're saying that's why she wanted to get out of the trial. I reckon if she didn't commit suicide, she would have gone to that trial and she would have stood her ground. But other than that, I don't know. It's on the BBC, and I can't see the BBC, making that stuff up. But when I'm reading that first bit, TV star Caroline Flack took their own life while she was facing trial accused of assaulting her boyfriend. I take that that's the reason why she got out of a trial, and you would take that negative effect on. Whether that's true, I don't know. But yeah, maybe it's not true. Maybe it is. We won't know. Media never tells us. So be careful when you read the news. And we got enough time to one more question, and it's about. We're gonna come back to obviously coronavirus and this political debate in a second. But I want to talk about bullying and bullying and gangs and knife crime are my two next sections I want to debate on. We're going to start with bullying first. Bullying in the UK is one of the biggest things that's happened, and can government and schools do better to stop bullying and take action? What's your thoughts, Connor?
100%. I think this is appropriate for me to talk about my future plans. My future plans are to become, hopefully one day, an MP, to go into the world of politics, to revamp the world of British politics, change this country for the better. And that's what everybody says. Everybody says, I want to make the country better. But with my ideas, it will truly happen. I've got backing already from MPs, support from people. I've already discussed this with people and MPs, and they've already said they'd support me and everything. So the issue with bullying itself is not a crime. Believe it or not, bullying is not a crime. But the things that fall into bullying that can happen when being bullied are. So things like hate crime, online trolling soon will be a crime, but isn't yet. Physical assaults, physical bullying, that is illegal. But bullying itself is not a crime. And that is something I don't understand. Because
I don't either.
It should be 100% a crime. Can you imagine if bullying was a crime? To the extent of bullying being a crime, because it has mental effects. There are people that live all of their life and will still say, when I was a kid, I was bullied. It never leaves you.
No, I was bullied as a kid. I can still say that. I can still say because of the way I am. Now, don't forget, in itself, I don't get affected by bullying. Bullying is some stupid people who have effects at home that want to bring that on you. That's the whole basis of bullying. But I want to take Harvey, for example, Harvey Price. Now, this is a subject that grinds my gears to the point where I want to punch any online troll that bullies him. Me, having disabilities myself, can stick up for them kind of people. He has, bullying. He has autism and he has the highest on the spectrum of autism. Autism's a dangerous thing. Or is it autistic? Anyway, autism is a dangerous thing. and he can hurt people, but he doesn't mean it. And for people to kind of bully on his weight and his disabilities instead of helping him, if that was because Harvey's weight is at it's been announced in the news. Harvey Price's weight is at a dangerous level. But if he doesn't start losing it now, he'll have complications in the future. Possibly to the point where, because he may have high cholesterol, it can possibly cause him a heart attack. But bullying on that isn't the case. You should take into account that he also has autism. So if he doesn't get what he wants, that autism will kick in and he'll kick off, and it's harder for Katie Price. Plus, Katie Price has many other kids to look after as well. No, she can't just look after Harvey. So it's harder for Katie Price to have a disability child and other kids. It's going to be hard. Now, that's not me saying, because you have a disability child, don't have other kids. It's just saying it's putting extra pressure on Katie Price, and I feel for her. You know, she doesn't have respect by social media herself because of the way she's acted throughout the years. No, she doesn't have respect in social media herself. And Harvey is such a generous and nice kid that bullying him hurts people. Not just him, it hurts other people. Because you know that he will not fight back. And that's the thing I wanted to bring up. And quickly to say about knife crime. Knife crime's a big thing in the UK. It has been going on. It is a crime. You know, people have died from it. People have been murdered. Babies, children, teenagers, families. I know a person who got ran over and then stabbed in Salford. It has a knock-on effect and it needs to stop. Connor, what are your thoughts?
Again, this is something I will be taking forward in my political campaign. It's something we're working on currently. I work with the police. I'm part of Lancashire's Youth Commission on Crime. We're looking at knife crimes, the reasons why knife crimes occur, police relations occurring with knife crime. Because obviously in Blackpool, knife crime is not a major issue, but it is on the rise rapidly, and that is unfortunate. Blackpool in itself has got its own issues, with it being highest place for mental health issues, one of the most deprived places in the whole country. But knife crime wasn't an issue until around 2 years ago. Obviously, there were instances, but 2 years ago, it was a general thing to carry knives. And what's disgusting is I see young kids carrying machetes around that are almost bigger than them. I don't understand. I mean, come on. What do you see logical sense in carrying a weapon around?
It's dangerous. And one of the mottos is put down the knives, pick up the gloves, because a black eye doesn't last longer than a stab wound. A black eye doesn't matter, a stab wound does.
There are a few groups that run by that, boxing clubs and things like that, martial arts clubs that run by that, and they'll say knife crime victims, knife crime perpetrators, anybody involved with that can come along, and we will learn to control our aggression. And that's what it comes down to, isn't it?
Obviously, if you're carrying a knife because of gangs, don't be afraid of them, you know. And I want to come back to one of the most important things, and that again is young carers. And obviously, I just want to get a youth council kind of take on young carers and what's in store for young carers.
To be completely honest, the young carers conversation hasn't been included into the top 5 Make Your Mark results. It wasn't voted in the top 5. So the issues surrounding young carers can be taken forward. If you'd like it to be mentioned, I can mention it to my youth council. You can also email your own youth council, your own MPs and things like that. So for the Blackpool Youth Council, we've not spoke about that. Being truly honest with you, I can promise you that it will be brought up. I will ask some questions about it. I will also email my MP. Obviously, I know my area is, we live in different areas, and I know I can email my MP and see what's going on. You also email your MP and see what's going on.
Yeah, one of the biggest pushes right now is with Young Carers Week. Is we're doing a webinar. I mentioned it to you, and it's about, you know, comparing adult carers and young carers and making them visible and valid. And the whole Young Carers Week is about making them visible and valid. And we're, you know, doing a mindfulness session on Thursday, the 10th of June, and we're going to broadcast it in schools all over Salford and do 2 mindfulness sessions, one at 10 a.m., one at 2 p.m. And it's going to be broadcasted live in schools all over Salford, Blackpool, whatever, and also webinars with MPs as well. There'll be them there, you know, and that'll be broadcasted. And just before we finish up and say our goodbyes, I want to say, what's next on your YouTube channel? What's coming up? What's happening?
What's coming up? Great question. I don't know. I've got a list of about 100 people I want on the podcast. Will I get a reply from any of them? Probably not, but I need to get in touch with them. What's coming up on videos? I've got a few videos planned and things like that. Nothing too big. I'm currently working on a project at the moment that includes a large sum of money.
Everything includes a large sum of money if you can't get them to volunteer. I've been down that road.
It's a treasure hunt. A treasure hunt with a large sum of money. I'm on that. It's not a video for my own channel. It's for something else.
I'm trying to bribe rather Ollie Ball or Darren Oterman to come on and do something with me. But the more I'm gonna ask Darren actually after this one. And
Ollie Ball actually shared shared a post that I was tagged in. Darren Altman shared a post that I was tagged in, and then Ollie Ball re-shared it. I was like, all right, Ollie, yeah. Darren's a good guy. Darren's a good guy. Darren, you know, he's busy. He's working all the time. He's got children or whatever.
He will give him.
But
you've got to catch him around. You've got to catch him around 8:00 at night if you want to speak to him. By the way, guys, you know you're gonna catch him around his kind of. He's already said to me, "Listen, I don't plan my lives. I go live whenever I want. So if you want to jump on, just catch when I'm live, and you know what? Let's do it. You know, you've got to catch him before it's too late. So if I message him today, hopefully he gets back. I did do it yesterday, but
yeah, and that's it. I wouldn't advise anybody to go and just constantly message people. It doesn't work like that. You message somebody, and I set it in my diary. I set 1 week I'll email somebody, and then I emailed somebody quite big, actually, really big. He was on the Ellen DeGeneres show,
Yeah.
good friends with Oprah Winfrey, big people. So I emailed him. His manager got in touch and just said, well, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm set to email him again in 2 months' time, just to give it that bit of a break.
Yeah.
And then try again. Try to be great. You know, you got to plant your seed that you want people. Be persistent. Keep trying.
And you got to catch when they're active as well. I
Yeah.
did that with Gemma Hun. I messaged her, and it was like, oh my God, it was so long ago. And I was like, waiting. It was actually the 22nd of April, and she got back to me on the 28th of April. So you can see how long that is from there too. And that's just what it is. If you leave it that long, they'll find a way to message back. We're going to say our goodbyes as well. So it's been lovely to have you here, Connor, and talk about your early life and have a political debate. Not much of a debate, but we got there in the end. It was nice to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. And I hope to do more of these in the future with some other people. And it's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
To my people who are going to watch this after I post it, this was a live one take and we did not mess up. A little bit of technical difficulties, but you'll fly by that. I powered that out like a professional. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe on this video. Check out Connor's YouTube channel and his Instagram and his Twitter and his Twitch. There's a lot of social media is there. And guys, thank you so much. Like, comment who you want to see next as well. And we'll see you all next.